Hello everyone, how you going? Welcome back to something I didn't expect to be saying, but here we have some more Heritage Minutes, starting off with Acadian deportation. 1755.
Our ancestors came here from France to build a better life. We lived here happily for generations. Until the British decided they wanted our land. The men were called to a meeting and then imprisoned. They demanded we swear an oath to their king and took everything, regardless. We were forced from Acadie, the only home we knew. Mon Acadie n'existera plus.
From 1755 to 1763, over 10,000 Acadians were ripped from their homeland. Despite this, Acadian culture endures in Atlantic Canada.
Well, it was never going to be a light topic with a title like that, but I'm surprised that I haven't heard much about this in the grand scheme of things, considering it seemed to be such a massive time period or such a massive population and impact on the time period, especially because from what they said, they had been there for generations already. It wasn't as though they'd come in, they got kicked out immediately, they got moved around, it was a very turmoil time period. No, they'd been there for ages and it seemed as though it was fine, and then the British just went, hang on a second, what are we doing? We want that land and we're just going to take it. Which I guess is quite a common sentence to hear throughout British history, but either way, the fact that they were just ripped apart, they were fully deported, not even just, okay, you have to swear to the crown, and I guess those who didn't then maybe got stripped of their rights and stripped of their land or whatever it might have been. But then listening to it again, she just said they demanded they swear an oath to the king, but then took everything regardless, and so I guess there really was no winning in that situation. Your entire livelihoods, your entire homes, your families, everything was just completely broken apart. The men were just called for a meeting and then just immediately imprisoned, and who knows what after that. Everyone else was just put on a myriad of boats and just shipped all over the world, or I don't know where. And so like with any Heritage Minute, there is still so much more to this story, and you could really go down a rabbit hole, I can only assume. I mean, I'm still surprised and amazed about how much the context they do fit in within 1 minute. But I guess the main question I do have is how and why did it all suddenly stop? They said 1755 until 1763, and so did the whole thing just get swept under the rug? Did they get their land back? Did they get their families back, even though they would have been so broken and tattered? And some way they were still able to keep their heritage alive to this day, and we see it with Quebec and all those historical French influences. Either way, I'm certainly glad that I have now seen this one, because it is a massive part of Canada's history, and even though I am a bit bemused as to how I missed it in the first place, at least I've now seen it and I can just expand my knowledge from there. But now moving on to our second one, we have the Lost Heritage Minute, Lester B. Pearson.
Hurry! Quick! It's time you leave this island! You and your family!
Listen, Costa, I've been here all my life. This is as much my country as yours.
Killed my brother. You killed him, and you'll pay. You and all the other Turks.
I never killed your brother. It was an accident. I swear to God, Costa, if you don't stop this, I will shoot you. I will shoot you.
Will kill me. Okay, come on, shoot me. Shoot me like you shot my brother. Shoot me some of your Turkish courage.
Enough! Stop it! This is not your problem, Canadian soldier, not your war. This is Cyprus, our problem.
I'm here as a member of the United Nations Peace Force. Now, both of you, go home. Nobody's going to shoot anybody. Go home.
The UN Peace Force was designed by a Canadian, Lester Pearson. In 1957, for his dream that soldiers could make peace instead of war, he received the Nobel Prize.
Fair enough. Well, like I said, and according to the title, that is the Lost Heritage Minute, and I certainly have never seen that one before. I don't know when it originally came out. Maybe the description will tell me. Does it say? Some viewers who caught the first round of Heritage Minutes on television in 1991, here we go, have a hazy memory of a sport that focused on Canadian peacekeepers. Fair enough. It never appeared in VHS or DVD collections, and when Historica Canada inherited the Heritage Minute master tapes, the Lost Minute was not included. What? Variously called Cyprus and Peacekeepers was originally released in 1991 alongside the Pilot Minutes and other classics like Halifax Explosion and Superman, both of which I have definitely seen, and I can absolutely agree that they are classics, but my goodness, the fact that they was pulled just because of a costume complaint, did I read? An inaccurate costume detail discovered during the post-production process. Wow. I mean, I know they take it very seriously about how historically correct it is, but that's pretty amazing that you would go through all the effort of creating an entire Heritage Minute, the writing, the filming, the editing, and then put it on TV and go, actually, nah, we're just going to take it down now. And so I guess then jumping to the content within the Heritage Minute itself, we can certainly see, and it provides a bit of context because I have also seen a UN peacekeeping force As we have seen in this one before, Dextras in the Congo, but the entire thing was centered around the UN.
United Nations Peacekeeping Force in 1956.
So it's interesting that they have this one, which was released when? Not 1963. I can only imagine after the original one in 1991, but I guess they just decided they wanted to tell the same story, but they just didn't want to reuse the original, or they didn't have the original. And I think it is an incredible thought process to have, especially when it hasn't been thought of before, to go, hang on a second, we have all this military might and we have all these resources at our disposal, all these personnel, but we don't actually have to use them to go fight an opposition. We can use them instead for peacekeeping ordeals all over the world, and actually just to try and de-escalate situations so that we don't have to then come in with tanks blazing. And so it certainly makes sense as to why you would win a Nobel Peace Prize for that. So I guess we have Lester B. Pearson to thank for that, and also whoever discovered this lost heritage tape to thank for this one. But now for the next one, we have Canada's first and only mixed World Heritage Site. No idea what it means, but let's find out.
Anishinaabe have been stewards of this land for millennia. Our elders named it Pemachiowanake, which means the land that gives life. It is a reminder that Anishinaabe are inseparable from the land. Ake is the source of life and all that emerges from and flows across it.
Okay.
We honor this gift through sustainable practices.
Yeah.
We call it Jiganawenda Mangidakim, or keeping the land. Our people have the skills, the knowledge, and our way of life. 4 Anishinaabe First Nations in Ontario and Manitoba came together to make sure it was recognized as a World Heritage Site.
Wow.
And continue protecting the land. We gather here. The teepee represents our home. We are all together under its poles. That's what makes us strong.
Wow, that's a lot of land. Right, that's what they mean by mixed. Fair enough. When I read the title, I had no idea what they meant by mixed World Heritage Site, but then when you read it, you go, of course, it makes so much sense when you have kind of an ecological protected zone, but then also a historical and spiritual protected zone as well. And like I said, 30,000 square kilometers is no small chunk of lands. I mean, yes, there are definitely bigger national parks all over the world, especially in Canada. And so now I'm just wondering where it is. So let's just have a look, see if it even comes up on Google. Hopefully they know where it is. Okay, yes, at least they actually do know it. So to have 30,000 square kilometers, I don't know how far that would be. Let's just try and get a scale about what this would be. Here we go. A bit of this, bit of this, bit of this. How much is that? That's 5,000. Here we go. Drag this around. Wow, look at that. That's still only 12,000, 16,000. It's actually a huge amount of land. Here we go. Look at this. There we go. That is 35,000, which is a bit more than what they said it was. But either way, look at the size of that. That is a monumental amount of land. That is almost as big, or actually it's bigger than a whole bundle of states in the USA. And so to hear that all of this just came about because four nations people just went after it to make sure that it was actually going to be recognized. I guess they didn't set out for it to be mixed, but that's what it ended up as, and it certainly makes sense. I mean, clearly I don't know the ins and outs and whether there's been problems or not, but I think in theory you were getting the best of both worlds. On one hand you were getting the biological protection, and on the other hand, like I said, you're getting the spiritual protection, and so it absolutely makes sense that you would want to protect that. Especially because like any First Nations culture from all around the world, they were so knowledgeable of the land they were upon, they were so respectful of what they took and what they didn't take, and just how to use the land to their advantage, but not just completely destroy it in the process. And so even though this technically was not a heritage minute, I think you can absolutely say it is one, because I'm fairly sure it wrapped up, bang on a minute, and it also just got across all the same brilliant information. But moving on to our next one, we have one that wasn't even out when I last checked out Heritage Minutes, and it's Tom Longboat.
I am Gagwege. My name means everything.
Tom Longboat!
I am Wolf Clan, Onondaga Nation. I've run many different races. I've run to survive and to be free. I've run to win for honor.
His people might be lazy, but this one's damn fast.
My people respected our runners, people who carried important messages from village to village.
I need a guide to the next post. Dispatch carrier, sir. I can get you there.
God's sakes, man, slow down. Who do you think I am, Tom Longboat?
Oh, sir. I am.
Running makes me feel alive. It's everything.
Tom Longboat was the first Indigenous person to win the Boston Marathon. He ran his way to international fame and became an inspiration to generations of athletes.
Absolutely, that's an awesome story. I mean, I've previously checked out Terry Fox's story, which is just an incredible story on its own, but hey, it's amazing to see that there is a history of runners within the Heritage Minutes alone, you know? Obviously, this one is a very different time period where I can only assume he was conscripted into the war, and I do love the fact that he went, "Who do you think we are, Tom Longboat?" And he goes, no, I don't think you are, because that's me. And they go, "Oh, right, no wonder we were struggling to keep up with you. You ran the fastest marathon ever?" Yeah, as it says here, fastest marathon ever run, won by Longboat on April 20th, 1907. 16 pages, priced 2 cents, even though it's a bit chopped off, which to be honest doesn't sound like that was super cheap. I mean, it's 1907, so it's 2 cents is like half a year's wage. But one of the things I really respect and really do love about Heritage Minutes is the fact that they do not shy away from some of the tragedies of the time period, you know? They go on to say it here.
People might be lazy, but this one's damn fast.
Like the fact that that is such a truth of the time, to say his people might be lazy, but this one is darn fast. You know, hearing something like that, I wouldn't be surprised if that was used as a newspaper headline for the time, but it's just a tragic thing to hear these days, of course. And so what can I say besides Heritage Minutes has certainly not lost their touch and their flair about how to create an incredible story just within 1 minute, or honestly they're usually about 55 seconds because I have to cram in a little bit of an outro as well. And so even though I did leave this one for a few months because I didn't know it was even out, it premiered on the 4th of June 2022, I'll definitely have to make sure to just keep coming back and checking because they're always just awesome pieces of work. But anyway, in saying that, I reckon I'm going to call it there, so thank you for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, feel free to do the YouTube algorithm things down below. Also, if this is the first video of mine that you are watching, then make sure to go check out any other ones I've done. Also, make sure to go check out all the original videos down in the description below, or hey, maybe even just want to consider subscribing so that you don't miss out on one of these in the future. But all in all, have a good one and see ya.